We'll get into the title after I pose this hypothetical scenario. I'm gonna use Miss Sunkist in the hypothetical. Now, Miss Sunkist has a itsy bitsy channel, right? For me myself, I have a teensy weensy channel, all right. But let's say she hit that lotto one day. Remember the day where you or any old body could hit the right thing at the right time and at the right place? Next thing you know, you viral. It used to happen just like that. Right? That used to happen all willy-nilly, where all you had to be was the first one to get on the story, and when we searched the story, your video would be right up there at the tip top of the search. Remember them days? I know some of you do. Well, say Miss Sunkist hit it. Then she gets a notification from YouTube saying, "Hey, Miss Sunkist, you got a popular video there. A lot of people talking about it. But we don't think your channel is strong enough to support the weight of such a video. So tell you what, we're going to make your video disappear until you get your weight up. Your video is fine, not in violation of any community guidelines, but you know what? You're not quite what we're looking for in a content creator." Imagine that. Ms. Sunkist, if you hear this video, please tell me how you would feel about that, because here's what I'm talking about.
But look at this. Imagine you're a you're a brand new YouTuber. You're just getting into the game. You're getting your feet wet, right? You upload a video and that video is popular. This is the way that we all would normally want to grow, right? And then you get this. Video unavailable. I've seen, by the way, multiple reports of this from different people. So it seems to be a trend. Not a single journalist has written about it. Shockingly. Video unavailable. This video is popular. Due to limited creator history, we're limiting the number of viewers. Subscribe to this channel to help this creator reach a broader audience. So what? A young creator can't have a viral video now? How else are you supposed to make it? You're already buried between Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, local broadcasting people, establishment news like the Young Turks, or big channels like Crowder or the Daily Wire. And then way down on page 70, they'll find an individual creator. And then you work and you work and you work and you finally craft the right title, and you finally craft the perfect video. You release it at the perfect time. You've finally done it. You've hit gold. Your video is going to garner, it's going to launch your YouTube career. Oops. 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 Nope. Sorry.
Kept in a state of arrested development. Why I've been complaining about censorship, even before the Copa thing about 4 years ago. Remember when people were concerned that maybe thousands of channels would be instantly terminated? Right? And why I've told people that the censorship talk has little to nothing to do with hate speech or sexism or any of those things. Damn sure little to nothing to do with protecting kids. Has little to nothing to do with public safety, mental health, or any of that. It's about totalitarian control. Now, whether or not Miss Sunkist even seeks to go viral, I mean, that should take a backseat to how she'd feel about how she'd feel about being told that she can't achieve until they say so, or she achieved without their permission. And I know some of you've been saying to yourself when you've been listening to these videos, you've probably been saying to yourself, what the hell is Madhead Doctor's problem on here with the nerve to be complaining about a statue of Robert E. Lee being torn down and other Confederates? Don't he know that they were racist? What the hell is his problem been on here complaining about M&M's and Minnie Mouse? Who cares what they were wearing? They're just cartoons and candy. How is it that the Madhead Doctor has said that he knows American history is jam-packed with lies and saturated with omissions of various parts of actual history, but he's still on here speaking against critical race theory? What's wrong with this Negro? I'll show you.
As of right now, the Flashpoint Live Atlanta pre-registration is open. I love it, Lance, when people send me lots of information. And what is on the forefront of everyone's mind is what's going on with the American healthcare system, because it's at risk. In case you didn't know it, on May 22nd, A vote will take place in Geneva that will directly impact our national health care sovereignty. It can be taken over by the World Health Organization, and reports indicate the threat to the American health care contained in an amendment proposed by the Biden administration. So what does all that mean? What that means is they can decide we need to shut America down. So somebody in another country can just decide how you live your life. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And so, Lance, it's time for the Army to rise up.
It is. And I think it's even a little more sinister than that. It's not just about a dumb decision to cede authority, Gene. This is all part of the World Economic Forum, Davos, Communist Party, global elites plan to generate crises in order to centralize global governance and global control.
And I'm going to give you a little more details, but first, I want to go to Victory News this morning. Michelle Bachmann was on. I want to play this clip, and we'll be right back.
The bottom line of what these amendments would do is to take America's authority and decision-making power over national health care decisions and take it away from the U.S. and all other nations that are part of the UN and give it to the UN.
We should never be subjugated to any supernatural national law over our constitutional rights. That's what's happened to so many countries in Europe with the EU imposing their law. And they sue the countries that don't comply, and they punish them financially. We don't want to be part of that. We're the United States of America. So I agree with you and your army of viewers. I think we have to pressure not just our representatives, but in the press, talk to your friends at church and at work. I think we have to rise up and say absolutely not. We see what they're doing to the citizens of communist China and how they're locking them down and not even letting them have deliveries. People are screaming and dying, and that's communism.
Lance.
What's wrong with me is that what I see going on is where I just showed you it's been heading. Medical jail. The things you hear me complaining about, well, it's because I know that it has little to nothing to do with why they're telling us they're doing these things. An atmosphere likened to Sunnyvale. Remember that episode of The Twilight Zone where you had the little boy with magical powers where the boy could read people's minds? He could read people's minds so people would even be scared to think. They wouldn't even think the wrong things, let alone speak the wrong things. Do y'all understand that governments here and abroad are now using words like illegal content? Not just community guidelines violations, no, illegal content. Illegal. What does that mean? That means jailed and or fines, court appearances. That last clip I showed you, in case whoever listening, in case you didn't know, this scumbag here is planning to finish signing us over to the World Health Organization. Set to meet on, I think, May 20th, if I'm not mistaken. And not just the United States, nations are set to sign their people over to scientists and doctors. And these people can override any sense of a constitution of the United States or any Supreme Court in the land. And people could be jailed indefinitely and held without charges. So this quest to get rid of Section 230 has little to nothing to do with fighting misinformation or protecting citizens from abuse. The only thing they're looking to protect is their one world of government. And no matter how far they go, no matter how far they've been going, they just keep going further and further and further. But you still have people who think that this stuff is about people who you or me may not like. You think this is about somebody you don't like not having a YouTube channel. I don't like him. I don't like her. I don't like them. Yeah, get rid of them. Not even seeing that it means you too. And the people who you do like, they're going to get it too. Here, let's hear them caring about us.
Some food for thought, something that will sound familiar to all of us. It's 10 at night. You're about to sleep. You've had a long day, but instead of just calling it a night, you turn to your smartphone or your tablet You start with WhatsApp, check your emails, maybe do some online shopping. And then you turn to Instagram or Facebook. And that's when you begin scrolling endlessly, mindlessly, trends, reels, videos, memes, and of course, an endless stream of negative news. Your brain just refuses to switch off. There's now a term for it, doom scrolling. Spinning continuously through bad news. There's been enough of it over the last 2 years after all. From the pandemic, to job losses, to the Afghanistan conflict, and now the Russia-Ukraine war. Despite its effect on our mental health, research now says it's leading to anxiety and depression even. So what's the way out of this? Are we all doomed to keep scrolling? How much news is too much news? What impact does all this have on our mental well-being? On this special broadcast with me, Priyanka Sharma, I'd like to welcome our guests for the hour. We are now being joined by Sharon Blady, who is a former health minister. She joins us now from Winnipeg in Canada. Thanks so much for joining us. Also joining us is Dr. Shabir Tejani, who is a GP partner at the Groby Road Medical Centre from Leicester in the United Kingdom. I welcome both of you and thanks so much for giving us your precious time on WION World is One. Sharon, I'd like to take my first question from you. Let's talk about this term that has become even more important in light of the Ukraine conflict. Research shows that doom scrolling has now seen an uptick. We're now consuming more news about the Ukraine war. And what kind of impact, in your view, is it having on our mental health, or the word used more often than not, on our mood?
Oh, it's having a very strong impact. And I think it's one of those things that because this is an event that has global implications, it reaches farther than a lot of times. We often have news cycles where people will take interest in something and an issue will drop back. This is one that's keeping people focused and they are seeking more and more information. And what's interesting is that we usually tend to seek information out of a sense of protection. It's about keeping ourselves safe. And what happens is we can literally overdose on this. And that's what's happening, is it's upping anxiety levels. And it's also impacting our health, our well-being in a variety of ways, disrupting our sleep. And so it's one of those things that we really need to, take a break from. And I know that it's, we're all attached to our phones, but it's something that in our own best interest.
The ones who are pro-censorship, thinking that all this stuff is about just tearing down statues and terminating hate mongers. Well, they're also going to save you from doomsday scrolling, to make sure your mental health is okay and in line with how they think you should be as a person. Did you hear all that medical talk in that clip? See, that's what those crazy conspiracy theorists mean by medical lockdown is on the horizon. See, we're not going to need to be guilty of anything. We'll be pre-guilty. Everybody will be deemed mentally ill or a potential threat to public safety in one way or another. And it's not just a conspiracy theory. It's almost here. And the clip I'm going to end this with is a guy named Yuval Harari. I want you to look him up. And when you do, you'll find that he's not just talking. He's not just someone on the internet with a mere opinion. You'll find that this crazy man is plugged in. He has hands on this global thing that's taking place. And the censorship, public safety thing, it's about the confiscation of free will, not just free speech. Reproductive prohibition and all else will have a chain put on it. It's about our free will.
But some governments and corporations, for the first time in history, have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible. And in such a situation, the old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era, in which humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. We need to come to terms with the fact that, no matter, again, this is where philosophy meets computer science and biology.